I received a call at work informing me of my husband's accident that left him paralyzed for life. Reluctantly, I rushed to the hospital, where my mother-in-law greeted me with words that demanded my lifelong commitment to care for him. Thankfully, his condition wasn't life-threatening. Sighing deeply, I faced my mother-in-law, who presumed it was only natural for me, his wife, to take on the responsibility. Firmly, I refused, stating that I had nothing to do with him anymore. It was his fault. Despite my rejection, she insisted I stay by his side, calling me heartless and a demon. Feeling the futility of arguing, I attempted to leave the treatment room, but she grabbed my arm tightly, tearfully asking if I planned to abandon her son. My resolve remained unchanged, and I shook her off, leaving the hospital. At home, I immediately started packing, determined to move on and create a happy life with my daughter. Despite numerous calls from my mother-in-law, I ignored them, letting the answering machine bear witness to her pleas. As I settled into my new life, peace returned, but 3 weeks later, my husband called. Initially ignoring him, his persistent calls prompted me to answer. We were supposed to be separated. What do you want now? I questioned. He requested financial help with hospital bills, claiming I had an obligation. Refusing to yield, I asserted my lack of responsibility. Threateningly, he mentioned canceling the divorce, to which I responded that I never intended to divorce in the first place. He insisted on family court mediation, asserting we had submitted a divorce application before the accident. I remained steadfast, confident that a handwriting analysis would reveal his deceitful claim. In response, he went even further, claiming that I had coerced him into writing the divorce papers. Additionally, he hadn't informed his mother of our official separation, and the thought of causing her more sadness troubled me deeply. According to him, my mother-in-law was devastated, expressing a desire to die every day because I wouldn't answer the phone. My husband bombarded me with guilt-inducing statements. Feeling a sense of obligation, I decided to visit his hospital room. However, my mother-in-law had gone home to rest. It was there that he handed me the hospital bill, a staggering $5,300. When questioned, he explained it was a self-inflicted accident and insurance wouldn't cover it. Just pay it for now. I'll pay you back later, he assured. Despite the exorbitant amount, I believed his words and paid the hospital fees. Upon presenting the receipt to my ex-husband, I faced cold stares from those around me. Patients accused me of being a terrible wife for not caring for my paralyzed husband, labeling me a heartless demon. My ex-husband, in a twisted version of events, had told the nurses that I abandoned him and went home. They treated me with disdain. Feeling uncomfortable and wanting to leave, a nurse unexpectedly came to take my ex-husband's temperature. To my surprise, he declared, "My wife has finally reflected on her actions and has decided to start taking care of me from today." I had no such intention, but as I tried to explain, he pulled me closer, whispering a threat. He could move and warned me not to make a scene, or he'd invalidate the divorce. I was instructed not to tell his mother the truth. Refusing to be manipulated, I clarified that I had only come to pay the hospital bills and had no intention of taking care of him. His response was chilling. He insisted that, if I wanted to live separately with our child, I would have to care for him for a while. He made a show of asking loudly, in front of everyone, if I would abandon him, painting a distorted picture of our situation, all in the pursuit of a peaceful separation. With no choice but to comply, fearing the fabrication of stories that could separate me from my daughter, I reluctantly began caring for my paralyzed ex-husband, Jeff. While sympathetic to his condition, my feelings were limited to that. Tormented by Jeff in the past, my only desire was for him to genuinely reflect on his actions. Over our 20-year marriage, he had subjected me to numerous terrible things. After about a week of caregiving, I noticed an oddity. I was the sole visitor to his hospital room. His mother was nowhere to be found. When questioned, Jeff evaded, suggesting it must be difficult for her to witness his condition. Suspicion arose. Did she not care about her son's state at all? Suspecting hidden truths, I unlocked his smartphone while he slept, revealing secrets he kept from me. Digging deeper, I unearthed even more shocking revelations. It became clear that he was using me for his convenience, and the only way to break free was to expose Jeff's actions and true character. Gathering evidence carefully, I resolved to bring him down thoroughly. A week later, his mother suddenly appeared to visit Jeff. Panicking, he questioned her unexpected visit, despite his earlier claims that she had no interest in coming. I interjected, reminding him that I was no longer his wife. Confused, my mother-in-law looked at me, and as I showed her a photo on my smartphone, she became flustered. The image depicted Jeff with another woman, evidence of his affair. Pressing him, he fell silent and fidgeted. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he tried to snatch the smartphone, but I handed it to his mother instead. Shocked, she scrolled through the photos, revealing unmistakable images of Jeff and his affair partner in intimate poses. The truth was laid bare before her eyes. Moreover, this is the second time you cheated. I contemplated staying married to you for another 4 years until our daughter becomes an adult, but I've reached my limit of tolerance. Yet, to resort to this method, it's cowardly. You're one to talk. After our divorce, you went on a drive date with your affair partner and got into an accident. Indeed, when I entered the treatment room where Jeff was taken after the accident, I saw her lying on a bed a short distance away. Witnessing them both, I felt unbearable and left the place immediately. At that time, Jeff's mother was quite shaken upon hearing her son had become paralyzed, so I thought it best not to give her any more shocks and kept silent. She had no idea the woman in the same treatment room was her son's affair partner. My son has caused you so much pain, Courtney. I'm sorry for getting the wrong idea and saying those terrible things to you. She apologized with a guilty expression after looking at the photos for a while. But ultimately, Jeff is to blame. He caused the car accident because he was distracted, cuddling with his affair partner while driving. Moreover, he crashed into a traffic light because he couldn't navigate a curve properly. Who told you that story? It was written in the messages between you and the woman you were with, I revealed. Did you think finding just the photos would satisfy me? The affair partner, who had been discharged from the hospital earlier, had been exchanging various messages with Jeff about the accident. As I read out their contents in front of Jeff, he murmured in a low voice, "Please give me a break," and looked down. "There's still so much I haven't said to you. The woman who was supposed to care for you decided to break up with you, right?" Eventually, the affair partner blocked Jeff on Messenger and refused his calls, leaving him unable to contact her at all. You want to cancel our divorce because you want someone to take care of you, right? But I can't do anything on my own. Strange, you seem quite capable of moving. I played a video I had secretly taken while caring for him, showing Jeff effortlessly picking up a smartphone he dropped on the floor after I left the room. "Jeff, what are you doing lying like this?" My mother-in-law's face turned red with anger, and Jeff fumbled for an excuse with his mouth moving but saying nothing. I spoke up in his place. "You want to live a comfortable life without working, right? Pretending to be unable to move, deceiving everyone around you, and relying on my income to support you. Isn't that it? On what basis are you saying such things? I didn't spend 20 years as your wife for nothing. I see right through you. This is goodbye, Jeff." After saying that, I quickly left the room. Jeff, panicked, suddenly stood up and walked after me to chase me. Although I knew he could move, his swift action surprised me. Stunned, he grabbed my arm firmly. "I can't believe you lied to this extent. Let go of me now." While shaking off Jeff's hand, I sighed deeply, and he looked awkwardly silent, unable to make a sound. Anger boiled inside me. As I glared at Jeff, I declared, "I won't listen to your excuses. Not only did you cheat, but you've also neglected me for the past 3 years, haven't you? It's all on you. It's your fault for not being attractive enough to keep me. Your defiant attitude is something I can't stand. Do you have any idea how much you've hurt me by coming home late at night, reeking of different women's perfume, without a word of conversation at home? Jeff cheated on me 3 years ago for the first time, and since then, I've been treated like a maid. We slept in the same room, but I lived in a state of rejection. He bluntly told me, "A 48-year-old woman like you is no longer a woman." Later, he had an affair with a woman 20 years younger than him, who was with him during the accident. Shocked, I could hardly eat or sleep. My daughter noticed my deteriorating condition day by day and gently told me, "Mommy, if it's too hard for you, it's okay to get a divorce." For the first time, I discussed our situation in front of my mother-in-law. She turned to Jeff and sternly said, "Jeff, if you ever trouble Courtney again, I won't forgive you. Why won't anyone take my side? You brought this upon yourself, you fool. From now on, you're on your own." After giving Jeff a cold stare, she placed a gentle hand on my shoulder and said, "Do what you feel is right, Courtney. If you ever need advice, I'm here for you." Encouraged unexpectedly, I thanked my mother-in-law and then turned to Jeff, announcing that I had already moved out with our daughter Katie, as promised. "I'll divide the proceeds from the sale of the house and require you to pay $20,000 in compensation for your affair. Can we talk about that?" I coldly dismissed his plea, adding, "Oh, and don't forget to reimburse me for the hospital bills I covered and the $24,000 in child support for Katie until she turns 20. Jeff's expression immediately turned frantic, and despite seeking help from his mother, she firmly said, "I'm cutting ties with you, Courtney." Actually, I was driving with a suspended license, and my car insurance had expired. I didn't renew it, and now I'm being billed $28,000 for damaging a traffic light. Faced with this unexpected confession, I exchanged looks with my mother-in-law, but I felt no pity for him. "No matter how much you plead, my mind is made up. Don't ever call me again." As I was about to leave the hospital room, my daughter rushed in. Jeff immediately walked over to her, attempting to manipulate the situation. "Katie, you don't want us to divorce, right? It's better if Mommy and Daddy stay together, isn't it?" Katie, however, expressed her resentment, saying, "I hate you for constantly cheating and making Mommy suffer. You came here worried about me, right?" Jeff, shocked by his daughter's cold rejection, collapsed to the ground in a pitiful state. The other patients in the room, having witnessed the entire ordeal, apologized to me one after another. "I'm sorry we misunderstood," they said. I then noticed a nurse at the entrance of the room who also apologized, saying, "I'm sorry for making you feel unwelcome without knowing the whole story. No, I was deceived by him too. We've caused you trouble, and for that, we apologize. We'll be leaving now. Don't leave me, please. Goodbye forever." Leaving Jeff crying in the hospital, my daughter, my mother-in-law, and I left after his discharge. Jeff sold the house and paid the $20,000 in compensation for the affair, the $50,000 in property division, the $5,300 I fronted for his hospital bills, and the promised $244,000 in child support for Katie, leaving him almost penniless. With fines for driving without a license and the cost of the damaged traffic light, his future looks difficult. I'd also claimed $20,000 in damages from the woman he cheated with and received payment promptly. Now, Katie and I are enjoying our new life. She aspires to become a lawyer and is dedicated to her studies, and I am fully supporting her dream.